Hey guys, this is Gael from Madridismo.org. Today in the press conference, Jose Mourinho said that although he blames the beginning of the season of Real Madrid on a lack of motivation and focus from the players, he thinks that they will play full throttle tomorrow. He also said that he couldn't have a better relationship with the players in the club at the moment, and when asked by a British reporter if he lacked love here, he said he couldn't be more loved, and he's loved by the people who matter.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. We're going to start this press conference. Please remember, it's one person per person, one question per person. You have to identify yourself and your media. Thank you.
Remember that you have to identify yourself with your name and the company that you represent. That is one question per dimension.
Please sit down so we can start the press conference.
I
would like to know, following your statements last Saturday about whether there was a change to 7 players after the halftime, whether you have a very different lineup following this. No. It's not a very different lineup. Or one that seeks to single out a certain player, which, in my opinion, a player that could be in very good conditions or not. This is the lineup that I think is the best to try to win a match, which will be difficult. There's a different opposition, full of top quality players, but the lineup is the same. Is to think. I've been thinking very hard at it, which I've been doing for the last 2 days, and to try and make the best decision. I wanted to know, after 3 years here, what's your relationship with your players? Is it the same? Has it changed this year? What I mean is because of the last couple of press conferences where you've criticised a few of the players, or perhaps the group as a whole, for not being up to scratch. What I think is that there's no doubt that I believe that the guilty one in this case is myself. I think there's no doubt about this. If there were any doubts, then I will repeat this. In my team, when we win, we all win. And in my teams, when we lose, the person that is responsible for this is myself. I don't think there's any doubt of this. And if there were any, then they should end right now. And also, to make things plain and clear, what I've said in previous press conferences in Seville, which was more of a monologue really. I'd already said to the players before losing that game, not after, because afterwards, after matches, if it's whether it's good or bad, I don't like to share any feedback or be with them in the changing room. I think they're not ready after the game. They're not ready to listen. They're not ready to analyze or to debate. What I've said afterwards, I've told them before losing that game, which is why it can be considered to be criticism. I don't think it's criticism, because for me, more than this, is a conviction and something that I've reinforced. And I reiterate, the main person responsible is myself, because I haven't been able to motivate my players, to have them at the top level, to have them focused, for them to forget that in football what you achieve, everything, everyone forgets about this. And that life in football is today and tomorrow. Yesterday is history. Any titles that you've won are past history. You can win 5, 20, 30 titles, and these become part of history. And football is all about today and tomorrow, not about yesterday. Yesterday is water under the bridge, and I haven't been able to, have my players mentally as they should have been.
Independent. How do you think what Manchester City have achieved over the last couple of years compares with what you were able to achieve at Chelsea and at a club in a similar situation?
I don't think it's very different. Since Roman bought the club, I think it was Ranieri, the first coach. After that, I come. We won the first league, the cups, more title. Carlo came, kept winning, and finally they won the Champions League. City, I think, if I'm not wrong, was Mark Hughes, the first coach with the new owner. They start spending money. They start buying good players. After that, Roberto comes and a good work and spending more money and buying better players and building an incredible squad. And the first cup was coming. The first championship was coming. Also, the charity shield was coming. And I don't know if he's this season, next season, if he's with Roberto, if he's with somebody else in the future. But normally, in the direction the club is going, sooner or later, they can win the big cup.
Diego. Hola, mister. Diego Miguel.
I would like to know today what's your relationship with this squad and whether you think this could improve. No, it couldn't be any better. I think it's impossible to have a better relationship between a coach and a player such as the one I have at the moment.
Are Manchester City genuine Champions League contenders this season, do you think?
I think it's a good question for Roberto, not for me. I think he must be the club manager to say, yes, we are contenders, yes, we want to win it, yes, we can win it. I think it's for Roberto. But I'm in the other side. I say, we want to win, we can win, we are contenders. And we put Man City in the group of the teams that are a bigger rival for us. So for me, yes, they are. But I think the question that you have to put is to Roberto, and Roberto's answer is the answer.
Mariano.
If tomorrow there were a change of attitude in the field by the Real Madrid players, would you consider that people should be more angry, if possible, after what's been seen in the last league matches? I say it specifically because of the mental preparation, that the league has been kind of set on one side. And in the Champions League, it seems that they always find that motivation that they lose in the Championship. I think at this level, coaches, players, we have all won different things. We've all been successful in our careers. We have a certain stability, professional stability, also in terms of economic situation at all levels. So I think that we shouldn't be concerned by the people or be waiting, expecting people's reactions to determine whether this is going to motivate us more or not, whether we have more or less pressure. I think we should be the first and the only ones to put pressure on ourselves. In my case, no one puts pressure on me. Why? Because I put pressure on myself. No one motivates me. Why? Because I motivate myself. And no reaction, whether this is support or the contrary of support. How do you call this? Criticism. This won't make me stronger because I'm the first one to be self-critical. I'm the first one to not be at ease with myself if I don't feel like I'm working as well as I could. In the case of players, it should be the same sort of situation. If we're not doing it well, then we have to know ourselves. We have to be self-critical. And we have to attempt to endeavour to deserve the status that we've all achieved and of the privileged situation that we have. And that's it. I think it should come this way and not any other.
Martin Lipton from the Mirror here in the middle.
Thank you. I remember in your your time at the end at Chelsea once you said to us, if you give me love, I will give you love. You don't look like a man who feels particularly loved at the moment.
But I am.
By everyone?
Yes. Yes, by the people that matters. By the people that matters. You know?
And who are they?
Who? You know, first of all, my family, and after the people that works with me, my board, my club, my players, my staff. I have a great relationship with everybody. I feel loved, yes, and I love the people around me. So no problem, absolutely no problem.
Fernando.
Hola, buenas tardes.
If we try to find reasons why this team it cannot be recognized compared to last season, we look at the pre-season training. Are you happy with the pre-season that you had? Was it the one that you wanted? The pre-season was interrupted by what all managers who have many players at national teams think is an aberration, but it is one that exists in the calendar that all of us know about and that we have to adjust to, which is after a big competition such as the European Cup, the European Championship or the World Cup, you start late into separate groups, the ones that have been to these tournaments or not, and then you start working, and at the end, after 15 days of hard work, then the aberration comes, which is a friendly national team match day, where everyone plays wherever, the teams play wherever, and each one does with the players whatever they want. But this happens with Real Madrid, and not just with Real Madrid. It happens also with Manchester City, with Bayern Munich, and with many other teams that have many players, many international players. The pre-season that we did was, the one that we could do, but so that you can have an idea. Right now, we are preparing the pre-season for 2013-2014. The pre-season that we're going to start in July 2013. We're preparing that now. We're analysing that right now. We're doing the accounts. We're planning, making calculations. So that's the same. What happened with previous season? With a year in advance, we prepared it with the most minute detail and within everything that's possible. Now that we've finished it, players leave, and then they turn up 2 days before you start the league, then of course this isn't the perfect pre-season. But I don't want to say that this is the cause or this is the reason, because this is a situation that we already knew about, and I repeat, it's not one that only affects Real Madrid. It affects many other teams, many of which are achieving good scores. Now, to accuse the pre-season of not being the best we could have had, then I accuse those who set the calendar and those who set up the competitive schedules, who has ability to make a decision on the final score of something that all of us knew. Some of us say it, some of us don't. But when we're all together, during UEFA chats and meetings with coaches, when the doors are closed, we all say it's an aberration. Then once the doors are open and we're in public, some of us keep quiet and some of us say, that is an aberration.
In your previous club, the only time that I remember that you spoke in this way in press conference about the players was maybe when you lost the game with Catania 4 days before playing the return leg against Chelsea in Stamford Bridge. And for the players, and I remember also that you said that probably that game that you won at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea probably was the change in the mind of all the team that yes, they could succeed. I know that the season is long and there is so much story in front of us, but could be this game against Manchester City, for all these things that are happening, be this turning point, this change in mind that maybe, I don't know, the situation the team needs?
I can compare different periods, I can compare different teams, I can compare different episodes. I can't compare the natural talent of my team in Inter and my team in Real Madrid. I can't compare the younger of every day of my team in Inter and my team in Real Madrid. Are complete different realities.
Nacho Peña.
There have been some statements of Albert referring to Kaka. No, that's nothing to do with me. Alves' statements have nothing to do with me. It's not me who's going to comment on this. But he talks about one of your players. He says that Real Madrid are not treating him well and that he should leave here. I don't comment on statements from other players. I wanted to ask you how a manager makes the players think only about football after what you said in Seville, and how personally motivated you are by this Champions League. Well, Champions League motivates me as much as the Championship, the Liga does. Playing against Manchester City motivates me as much as playing against Getafe. Winning the Champions League motivates me as much as winning any other competition or match. Motivation for me is intrinsical, is inherent to my job, and I think to everyone's job, perhaps to your job as well. I think it comes with what we do, and that's it really. And I think this is the way it should be. If it's not, it's because perhaps something is not well. Perhaps you're confused and you have to clarify, make things clear in your own head and work out your priorities, your principles of life, both private and professional. Motivation should be present all the way.
Sí, aquí Martín Einstein de ESPN. Usted dijo en la última conferencia.
You said that in the last press conference that you were responsible for the way your team played. You also said in this one that you had to be self-critical. Where does the manager have to, pinpoint actions so that we can generate a reaction tomorrow? Well, I have to try to play with the team that I think will be there, I think in building a team, you have to have certain priorities with regards to the present time, with regards to the situation in the present day. You know, if you're going through a wonderful period, then you can prioritize and think that the most important thing in your team is to improve, you know, certain areas. If you're not playing well, if the team are missing certain things, perhaps you have to try and find them. And this is where I would try to act upon. This is how I'm going to try and give my team certain things that perhaps they're missing. I think it has to be that way, perhaps not. I'm not going further than that. My conviction is that tomorrow we will have a team. I'm absolutely convinced of this. We will have a certain team. We will have a compact team, full of solidarity, where the team is the most important thing, where everyone wants to work for everyone else's sake, and a team where everyone will, in my opinion, be playing at the, you know, giving 100%, and, you know, this with regards to their own personal and professional principles, including, you know, effective relationships, etc. I think we will be at the top of our game. Perhaps we might be missing a little bit of calmness, a little bit of confidence, a little bit of self-confidence as well. Perhaps we will be missing this. Why not? Because it's not easy to play against a team such as Manchester City when you come from a very bad match, where people are not stupid. They know that we did a terrible game. But in terms of team, of belief, of professionalism, ambition, I think we're going to be at the top of our game. Perhaps I'll be wrong, but this is my feeling.
Gracias.
Whether there was a change to 7 players after the halftime, whether you have a very different lineup following this. No. It's not a very different lineup. Or one that seeks to single out a certain player, which in my opinion, a player that could be in very good conditions or not. This is a lineup that I think is the best to try to win a match, which will be difficult.
Hey guys, this is Gael from Madrid.org. Today in the press conference, Jose Mourinho said that although he blames the beginning of the season of Real Madrid on a lack of motivation and focus from the players, he thinks that they will play full throttle tomorrow. He also said that he couldn't have a better relationship with the players in the club at the moment, and when asked by a British reporter if he lacked love here, he said he couldn't be more loved, and he's loved by the people who matter.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. We're going to start this press conference. Criticized a few of the players, or perhaps the group as a whole, for not being up to scratch. What I think is that there's no doubt that I believe that the guilty one in this case is myself. I think there's no doubt about this. If there were any doubts, then I will repeat this. In my team, when we win, we all win. And in my teams, when we lose, the person that is responsible for this is myself. Please remember, it's one person per person, one question per person. You have to identify yourself and your media. Thank you.
Remember that you have to identify yourself with your name and the company that you represent. That's one question per dimension.
Please sit down so we can start the press conference.
Hola, buenas tardes. José Luis Sánchez de La Sexta. Me gustaría saber.
I would like to know, following your statements last Saturday about there's a different opposition full of, top quality players, but the lineup is the same. Is to think. I've been thinking very hard at it, which I've been doing for the last 2 days, and to try and make the best decision. I wanted to know, after 3 years here, what's your relationship with your players? Is it the same? Has it changed this year? What I mean is because of the last couple of press conferences where you've